March 2023 housing market numbers are out. This video is the most recent data that exists for Broward County single-family homes in cities with double-digit declines, double-digit depreciation in terms of sold prices. And there's no way for me to sugarcoat it because the numbers don't lie. We had a massive shift in pricing on the macro level in March. And I will start on a macro level. We're going to take a snapshot of the overall market in Broward before we drill down into these cities that got shellacked by the market. And the market is always right. And the market does not care what you think about price, what I think about price, or what anybody thinks about price. The market only cares what a buyer is ready, willing, and able to pay right now today. Period. End of story. And I have looked at all the numbers, and I will share about every market that exists within the state of Florida as soon as I possibly can. But I think I would be completely irresponsible if I did not show the bad news first. But keep in mind, there are markets that trade completely differently, that have a different intensity of supply and demand. And so where you might be shopping hyperlocally in these cities could be very different, but the overall macro picture is no bueno in any of these cities. So let's start in Broward and go from there. This is the macro picture. And again, this is March numbers. These are old numbers. This is lagging data. And unlike the stock market, which prices in change in real time, the real estate market, the housing market is lagging. So these numbers are old. It's not the most current. And if you want more current information and you're thinking about buying or selling in any of these markets that I'm about to cover, please reach out because I can get much more granular and I'll be happy to do so. But to not make this a 10-hour video, we're going to stay relatively high level and understand what's happening in each city. But let's start in Broward County, and the numbers are out, and here's what they look like. We are only talking about single family homes. I'm not talking about townhomes or condos in this video. But I think you'll pick up on, as I continue to publish more content about each housing market, that the trends are very similar in most markets. So closed sales continue the downward trend. Closed sales fell off a cliff, down 21.1%. And to be clear, we're talking about Broward County macro picture, single family homes. So closed sales got a beat down. Median sales price is up 3.7% from 540 to 560. The average sales price is down almost 4%, down 3.8% to be exact, to 762 and change from a high of a touch under 792. Dollar volume got whacked, but that's a function of closed sales being whacked. It's down 24.3%. Percent of original list price received is down from 100.4% a year ago, which was an abnormal, insane seller's market. Well, gone are the days of 100% unless you price your home the right way and create a market within a market to ensure you find the one buyer on planet Earth willing to pay more than anybody else. Nonetheless, it's down to 95%, down 5.4% in March. And again, we're in April. Time to contract upticked exponentially, up 230% from 10 days to 33. And to be clear, 33 days to go under contract is a normal market. And to be honest, it's still a little bit abnormal. 33 days is returning to normal, but 10 days to contract is highly unusual. That is a function of a seller's market. Pending sales took a hit, down 17.2%. New listings, and this is one of the things that I suspect will insulate many markets within Florida. And while I know the supply of inventory of homes has upticked exponentially, new listings have been in a deficit in most markets that I cover. And new listings in Broward County for March were down 16.3%. Most home sellers are not going to be interested in trading up into a 7, 8, 9, 10, 20% mortgage interest rate if they don't have to. They're locked in under 4, and they are very happy to be in that mortgage. And while there are opportunities to negotiate better terms in terms of mortgage rate, if you find the right product and the right seller, and you've got the right professional who knows how to negotiate and advocate for you the right way, it is possible for you to buy down your interest rate, or have the seller buy down your interest rate, or have the builder buy down your interest rate, if the market dynamics allow for that. But that's going to be on a case-by-case basis. And I suspect as these dynamics change, it will become more likely you're able to do so. But March is 1 month. It is yet to be a trend. There isn't a pattern yet, but I'll keep you posted, and we will absolutely know what's happening so that you can make the best decisions for yourself, for your family, and for your financial bottom line. But the inventory of homes for sale upticked almost 50%, 48.4% to be exact. There are currently 3,141 homes sitting on the market in Broward County unsold. Not great news if you're thinking about selling, much better news if you're thinking about buying in this market. And we're going to do a deep dive into what the average and median sales prices are in the hyper local markets of these cities that just got whacked. And trust me, they got whacked. But please don't take my word for it. The numbers speak for themselves, and the numbers don't lie. Month supply of inventory upticked almost 100%, 92.9% to be exact. Gone are the days of 1.4 months of inventory. We're now at 2.7 months in Broward County, which, to be clear, is still a seller's market. But if you're buying, you've got way more leverage, you've got way more choices, and you can negotiate much better deals. And keep in mind, this is a month old. April numbers are very different, and we'll cover that in the future too. Which takes us to median sales price. And it's very important to understand what the last 12 months look like, but it's even more important to understand what it looked like going back in history. So we're going to cover both. And what you can see is that in March of 2023, median sales price, which is still on the uptick, median sales price throws out the outliers of the extremely high price point sales. It takes the middle value. And I have argued in the past that median sales price is not the most instructive piece of data to focus on, depending on the market that you're shopping in. But because this is macro, we're going to cover both, and we will cover both in every market that I cover. But this is what it is for median sales price, up 3.7% in March. And what you can see, the 12-month average for median sales price in Broward County for single family homes, the 12-month average is still significantly higher, just under 14% at 13.9 at 558 for the 12-month average. But it is interesting to note that it is the slowest appreciating month that we've seen in this county over the last 12 months. Which takes us to the graph on the bottom. And what you can see is a historical look back to 2008 and where home values traded in each one of those years. So although we are not at the tip-top high of where we were when the median sales price for a single family home in Broward County was pushing $600,000, we're not there today, but we're not too far off it. But we are a far cry from where we were in 2019. Which was a normal, balanced market. Because in 2019, the median sales price was much closer to $350,000. And if we go back to 2011, you can see that the median sales price was under $200,000 for a single family home, which tells me that single family homeowners in Broward County are feeling wealthy. They're feeling safe. They're feeling protected. They're sitting on a metric shit ton of equity in their homes, depending on where they bought it. But make no mistake, the pain of recession and the fear of economic uncertainty is on the uptick. And I know that all of these values are subject to change, which takes us to average sales price. And to be clear, we're still talking about single family homes in Broward County before we deep dive into the cities that took a double-digit beating. And they did. They took a double-digit beating. But the macro picture is different. The hyper-local market will trade differently. So please keep that in mind if you're thinking about buying or selling. But the average sales price in March 2023 which again is a month old, is down almost 4% to 762,000 and change. And what you'll notice is that this is the biggest decline that we've seen over the last 12 months. And with the exception of November of 2022, which was also a decline of 2.6%, it's been massive appreciation for single family homes over the course of the last 12 months. In fact, the 12-month average is up almost 10%, 9.3 to be exact. The 12-month average for sales price is 751,000 and change. But if we look at the chart on the bottom, what you can see is that although we've had a dip from the high, which was north of 800,000, we're not too far off. And while I do suspect we are going to see a lot of volatility in price in many markets, we are a far cry from where we were in terms of average sales price pre-pandemic. And if we go back to 2019, you'll see that pre-pandemic, the average sale price in Broward County for single family homes was somewhere around 425,000. And if we trace it back to 2011, what you're going to see is that the average sales price has skyrocketed from a touch over $225,000, which is a long way of getting to homeowners in this market feel wealthy. They feel rich. They're sitting on a metric shit ton of equity, depending on where they bought the home. And to be abundantly clear, March does not indicate a trend. It indicates something we must pay attention to, and it is the biggest decline we've seen over the last 12 months. But until we see consecutive months of decline, we don't have a pattern. We have an anomaly. And while I suspect I know what's going to happen, the truth is nobody knows what's going to happen. And anybody who tells you that they do is completely full of shit. But the numbers don't lie, which takes us to new listings. And new listings tell us a story that we must pay attention to. And what you can see is that in March, there was a shortage of new listings to the tune of 16.3%. And the 12-month average has shown a shortage of 5.9%. And if you look back over the last few months, you see shortages of 20%, 4%, 11%, 9%, 3%, 7%, 3.2%. Most home sellers aren't interested in trading into a more expensive mortgage payment on a monthly basis. But if we look at the chart on the bottom, which is very instructive, it gives us a more historical perspective. And what you can't help but notice is that although we are here, which is a big jump from where we were in terms of new listing supply relative to the recent past, in 2019, there were 3,000 new listings that hit the market. In 2016, it was pushing almost 3,500. In 2013, there were roughly 2,750 new listings hitting the market. And in 2010, there were 3,000. And given that we're at 1,629 in March, there is a deficiency of new listings hitting the market, which will likely insulate prices for a period of time because demand for homes from the 1,400 people that move here on a regular basis daily, which takes us to what you wanted to hear about, the reason you're watching this video. What are the cities that received double-digit price declines in March? And we're going to start with the biggest whopper of them all. We're talking about the Fort Lauderdale single-family housing market. And what you can't help but notice is that closed sales fell off a cliff, down almost 21%. But the median sales price is down almost 17%. 16.5 to be exact, from a high of 873,750, let's round it up to 874, to a low of 730. That is a big hit. That is something you must be aware of if you're thinking about buying or selling in the Fort Lauderdale market. But wait, Chris, what about average sales price? Because you said average sales price was more instructive. Well, we can argue whether it is or it isn't, but average sales price got whacked too. Double-digit decline, down 10.2%, from 1.7 million to 1.53. No bueno if you're thinking about selling, and muy bueno if you're thinking about buying. And I'm not sharing this to scare you. I'm sharing this to prepare you. And I recognize that 1 month does not make a trend, but it's certainly something we must pay attention to because both median and average sales price, pow, right in the kisser. All right, dollar volume dropped 30%, which is a function of all three of the metrics that we just talked about. Percent of original list price received down 7.2% to 92.4%. Gone are the days of 100%. Bye bye. See you later. At least for March. What will the future hold? Yet to be determined. I don't know, although I suspect I do, but I'm committed to telling you the truth, and you can expect I will keep you updated. Median time to contract up 23.6%, 68 days in March versus 55 in March of 2022, a return to normal. Not too much to be alarmed with there. Pending sales, big drop, down almost 35%. New listings, big drop. Something we must be aware of because supply and demand will always dictate price. And although there are fewer shoppers shopping when interest rates are 7%, make no mistake, real estate always trades, and there are buyers buying homes in the Fort Lauderdale market. They're just getting much better deals. Inventory of homes for sale on the uptick, up 51%. There are 361 homes sitting on the market unsold in March. And that's a big uptick to the 239 that were sitting on the market unsold in March of 2022. Month supply of inventory up 123.5%, 3.8 months. That is a neutral market trending to a buyer's market very quickly. And to be clear, we're talking about a macro number. We're talking about the Fort Lauderdale single family housing market. It's a big market. The hyperlocal market that you're shopping in will definitively trade differently, which is why it is critical to work with the professional that understands what the hyperlocal market is in order to advocate and negotiate for you the right way. But the trend is not your friend if you're thinking about selling in Fort Lauderdale. And the month supply of inventory is trending to a buyer's market very fast. Which takes us to the next city on our list, which is Parkland, Florida. And Parkland, Florida is one of my favorites. I grew up there. I graduated from Stoneman Douglas. I am a huge fan of Parkland, but Parkland has changed radically over the last few decades, and closed sales have fallen off a cliff, down 9.1%. But bar the door, Sally, median sales price and average sales price took it on the kisser. Pow! Down 8.5%. Average sales price down 17.4%. Median sales price dropped from a touch over $1 million down to $974. No bueno if you're thinking about selling. And the average sales price went from 1.322 to 1.093 and change. 17.5% is no bueno if you're thinking about selling. And I got news for you. April isn't going to be pretty in Parkland. Nonetheless, percent of original list price received down 6%. Bye-bye 102%, and hello 95.9. Gone are the days of 100% of original list price received unless you know how to price the right product the right way. And if you do that, you'll definitely get more than 100%. Time to contract up 41.2% from 34 days to 48 days, which is a return to normal. Nothing to be alarmed about, in my opinion. Pending sales up 17%. And that's different than Fort Lauderdale, which was down significantly. And new listings are also in short supply, down 1.7%. I'm going to round it to 2. But let's be honest here, a drop from 58 new listings in March of 2022 to 57 in March of 2023. Although an interesting talking point to be able to say down 2%, we're talking about one less new listing. But the inventory of homes for sale upticked almost 63% to 83 from 51. There are a lot more choices if you're thinking about buying in Parkland. But to put that in context, although there are more homes sitting on the market unsold, the month supply of inventory is still a favorable seller's market. 2.3 months to be exact, which is a 130% uptick from the 1 month that existed a year ago. So the market's changing fast. If you're thinking about selling, you're late to the party. And if you're thinking about buying, I would tell you, pay attention because there will be deals that you will be able to negotiate if you're working with the right professional. Which takes us to the next Broward city on our list that got whacked double-digit declines in terms of average and median sales price. Welcome to the show, Lauderhill. Closed sales are actually up 43%, a big jump from 14 to 20. And to be clear, Lauderhill is a smaller market, but we still must know what's going on. Median sales price down 10.4%. March of 2022, it was 457 and change, and March of 2023, it's 410, which is no bueno if you're counting on that equity to cash out with. Average sales price down 12.4% to 425 and change. Well, let's call it 426. Down from 485 and change, let's call it 486. That's a big drop if you're counting on that equity when you sell, and the trend is not your friend if you're thinking about selling. Gone are the days of 100.2%. March's percent of original list price received was just under 96%, down 4.5%. Time to contract upticked 126.1%. It now takes 52 days versus 23, which I describe as a return to normal. Pending sales up almost 6%. And to be clear, it's only a jump of 1 from 18 to 9, but it is what it is. New listings down 26%, a drop from 23 down to 17. And a short supply of new listings will help insulate price up until it doesn't. And it obviously didn't insulate anything in this market in terms of median and average sales price, which are both double-digit declines. Inventory of homes for sale up almost 4%. There's 27 homes sitting on the market unsold in Lauderhill versus 26. And month supply of inventory upticked 31.3% to 2.1 months from 1.6. And to be clear, 2.1 months is still a seller's market, but they are losing pricing power and leverage fast. Great news if you're thinking about buying, no bueno if you're thinking about selling. Which takes us to the Broward County city of Plantation. We're talking about single family homes. And again, we're a month old. We're talking about March 2023. We're in April, have definitively shifted, but they're the most current data that exists from the Florida Realtor Association. Closed sales down 13.5%. Median and average sales price took a beating. In terms of median sales price, a drop from 665 to 586. I suspect homeowners that are sitting on a ton of equity don't like double-digit declines, because I certainly wouldn't. And average sales price took a bigger whammy, down 18.1%, down from damn near 800,000 to 655. No bueno if you're counting on that equity. No bueno if you think your house is worth more than it is. And while we don't have a trend yet, I suspect the trend is not your friend, because March numbers were abysmal. And to be totally clear, I don't want to add too much color to this, because I don't believe numbers are abysmal. I don't think anything is good or bad. It is what it is. The numbers speak for themselves, and the data doesn't lie. So removing the inflammatory language around this, you must know what the numbers are. You must know what the hyper-local market is in order to empower yourself to make the best decisions for yourself, for your family, and for your financial bottom line. But it is what it is. Remove the emotion, govern yourself accordingly. Dollar volume got whacked, but that's a function of the other three things that we just talked about. And original list price received, percentage of original list price received, got whacked too, down 6.3%. Buy 100.2%, unless you know how to price the home the right way and you've got the right product. And welcome to the party, under 100%, 93.9 to be exact. Time to contract uptick 27.7%. It now takes 60 days, or at least it did in March, versus 47 in 2022. Pending sales down 6.3%. New listings down 18.6%, a drop from 59 to 48. Inventory of homes for sale up 105%. 80 homes were sitting on the market unsold in March, compared to 39 in March of 2022. And month supply of inventory predictably upticked also from a month to 2.5. Still a seller's market, but that trend is not your friend if you're thinking about selling, because it upticked 150%. Now, I hope you found this content valuable, and if you did, please subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and please know I intend to cover every market that exists within my market. I will go granular into cities and hyperlocal markets as soon as I possibly can. And if you're outside of my market, stay tuned because I also intend to cover every metro within the state so that you're empowered with the most actionable information that exists. I will tell you the truth, good, bad, up or down, right or wrong. I will shoot from the hip and tell you exactly what's happening so that you can make the best decisions for yourself, for your family, and for your financial bottom line. If you're ever even thinking about buying or selling anywhere, please reach out because we would love to help. And check out my next video because I suspect you will love it a lot. And until next time,